My name is Lauren Bettini. I'm a Hackensack-based artist. I work primarily in sculpture. Recently, I've been working with photography and installation work. I had surgery in July of 2017 where I had a back injury and I was having extreme sciatic pain. And instead of doing back surgery, I decided to have the gastric sleeve done. The process of that surgery caused me to have new scars, and not only were they physical scars, but they were emotional scars because my body was transforming. I started to notice that the world around me was changing their perception of me as a person because of the way that my body looked. I really wanted to explore how other women felt about their scars that had gone through similar experiences, how they not only went through their healing process, but how they felt about their scars now as they were healing and they were going on with their lives. I want people to look at my work and them to make connections to people in their lives, if not in themselves. So even if a man is standing in front of all these women, maybe that man has had a surgery, or maybe that man has a mother who has had one of these surgeries. I knew I wanted to not only tell my story, but I wanted to share the stories of all of these very inspiring women that I had been speaking to as I was going through my own journey. And I put out there in social media that I was looking for women, and women were just overflowing and contacting me back. They felt very strongly about what my message was. Some of them had never shown their scars or told their stories before, and this was a chance for them to really open up to the world. They found a platform to share their story safely without their identity being shared. I started experimenting with casting with silicone. I made molds of hands and realized how often I used my hands to communicate. Without showing the faces of all these women, I was able to have a conversation from hand to hand, in and out of the imagery. The hands I casted were of women of all ages from many cultures. The positioning they chose, how they either would sew or pass a string along. I noticed that we use our hands often to talk. I think it's important to note that all of the women have voluntarily come to me and reached out. I did not individually ask any of the models to participate in this show. I felt that it was most important to have them offer because they are now taking something that is so personal and sharing it, and that has to be chosen. Some of the surgeries were spinal injuries, spinal fusions, scoliosis. Others were hip replacements, hip infections. I had a finger amputee. I have a woman with lupus who had 2 hip surgeries and she had to have replacements. Another woman whose scars you can see beneath her 2 breasts with her hands covering survived an implant that was ruptured. Her implants were removed and she had to undergo surgery in her first trimester of her pregnancy, where she almost lost her baby. She told me about post-traumatic stress and how it's affected her in her daily life. I had the honor of photographing 2 women that were breast cancer survivors. One had survived a lumpectomy and another a double mastectomy. The woman that had the double mastectomy let me photograph her only a few weeks after her surgery. I remember talking to her about my surgery and how I felt losing a huge part of my body. 80 pounds was now gone. The area of her body that signified her as once being a woman was now gone, and she had to rethink what defines her as a woman. We have surgery where you can put in new implants, but in the time in between, and with many breast cancer survivors, women go without having their breasts redone. Does this make them not a woman? My model that I photographed with the hysterectomy, they took out an entire portion of her reproductive system. This also makes a woman think about what signifies her as a woman.